Hey everyone, my name's Alyse. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over good old reliable Sky Striker. You guys know I'm always on this deck in some way, shape, or form. You know I love this deck or something. But I actually think it's a really good deck that can contend very well in this format with a new addition to the deck. Good old Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, DPE, the new big baddie from Burst of Destiny. Autofocus hates me, holy shit. But yeah, so with this new baddie, I think it introduces a new realm of possibility for Striker, and just changes the pacing and, you know, potential of this deck completely. So I think there's a lot to explore with this deck. I also just got top 4 at a case tournament the other day with this deck, and I've just been playing this deck for like the last few weeks, and I've been really liking it a lot. And, you know, there's a lot of things that are different from like last format to this format with this deck, especially with the new decks that are in the format. So there's a lot to consider and think about, so I think it's definitely worth going over. So yeah, I guess one thing to go over first is this is a going first list. I know a lot of the time I say Striker is a going second deck, but new cards, different format, you know, there's a lot of changes that, you know, happen with the deck. So we'll get into, you know, why it's a going first deck now once we go into the cards a bit more. But first, just going to give a couple shout outs to the sponsors and also the main person who helped me with this deck. So first one to be for Cody Angeloff, you know, longest reigning national champion or something, ha ha ha. But yeah, no, Cody laid the foundation to this deck. I mean, he was playing in Denver when we were playing in the 3v3, and he was doing really well with it. And I think just from how he was making the deck and just how we're working together on it a little bit and just theorying with it, a lot of it made sense. There's just a few tweaks I had about it, some ideas I had about it that I was trying out and I've been really liking. But yeah, Cody laid the good groundwork and I really like this deck a lot. Then shout out to the sponsors, Ophidian Accessories and TGG Gaming. Use code Ophidian5 for 5% off your entire purchase at Ophidian. They're making a lot of cool, new, insane mats and just a lot of other cool, insane product. So make sure you keep an eye on them in the horizon. They got a lot of cool shit in the works. And then TGG's my locals that I go to. The case tournament actually happened there, so if you're looking for gameplay from me playing in that tournament, we actually recorded feature matches, and I'm in a couple of them, so definitely worth checking out the TGG and, you know, supporting them because they are the homies and everything. But yeah, let's just get straight into the deck list. Let's not waste more time. But for the Striker monsters, it's 3 Ray and 1 Rose. So I know in the past I've been an advocate for like 2 or 3 Rose, but now it's only down to 1. So first of all, it's a going first list, so, you know, thoughts and ideas change with that. And then second, so with the addition of DPE, this is essentially a starter as well. So if you see Fusion Destiny or Way to Verte, this is also starting your game. So now you don't need to rely as much on Rose starting your game because you need to see, you know, a starter at least to play the game. And it also provides consistency anyways, you know, via the Celestial. So it's not as important to see Rose, especially because it's such a subpar card overall and doesn't really do what you need Striker to do, but you need to at least attempt to be able to play, and sometimes it's just what you need. But playing too many copies of it just muddles your deck too much, so it's definitely not, you know, worth playing in the grand scheme of everything. But like, you know, you just need the one, and it's fine. So that's it for the Striker monsters. For hand traps, we have 3 Ash, 3 Nib, and then also playing 3 Imperm. So this is one of the main changes between mine and Cody's lists, is that he was playing Chalice, which Chalice is a decent card for this format because it's a good trading card and everything like that. But now with the addition of like the bird deck and just kind of how some of the other decks interact and evolved, it's better to have it, I feel like, in a hand trap form so you don't get completely overwhelmed. Because even though Chalice is good, it just playing into a full board definitely isn't fun, and Imperm can at least stop it from being a full board. So that's why I took the trade-off for it. Plus it's still chainable on your turn to start off the turn, so it's not the end of the world. And I know there's a few people who are questioning why there may not be Veiler in the main deck. It's because I don't play the Selene package. I still don't think it's necessary. Because I'd rather have Imperm than that. I'd rather have Nib and Ash than Veiler, because I still think these cards are like very nice and necessary. Even though Nib can be a bit subpar sometimes, I think it still fits with how the deck functions, that you still need at least one good power hand trap, and that's what Nib can fill, and nothing else can really fill the slot the same way. So I think it's perfectly fine, and I think just not playing... I do side Veiler, but I think siding Veiler and then playing the Selene package just isn't worth it. And to be perfectly honest, I'll kind of explain it once I get to a different card, but I just don't think it's necessary. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but that's it for the hand traps. Play the bricks for the deck, the Celestial and the Dasher. Yeah, not much to say about those. You need to play them. That's it for the monsters. For spells, we got 3 Widow Anchor, 2 Shark Cannon, 1 Engage, 1 Multi-Roll, 1 Area 0, 1 Hornet Drone, 1 Afterburner, and 1 Eagle Booster. So compared to the previous striker lists I've posted before, we're only playing 1 Afterburner, 1 Eagle, and 1 Area 0. So the main reason for these changes is just to accommodate for playing, you know, the extra engines in the deck via DPE. So just some space needed to be cut, and especially now that we're going first, like multiple Afterburner definitely doesn't become as necessary. Also, we're not playing Desires anymore, so needing to make sure that you have like extra copies of these cards in your deck isn't really necessary. And then since we cut down the amount of striker cards that exist in the deck, Area 0 definitely isn't as good. Like, I'll usually just send it off of Hayate if I need a spell engrave, but like, I don't know, this card misses way too much. I hate this card, honestly. There's still some part of us that wishes we could cut it, but we can't just because it's a starter, so you need to still play it. But yeah, I don't know, this striker spell lineup felt perfect. I don't think we really needed anything more, but I mean, it would have been nice if you could play like 4 Widow Anchors, but that's fine. That's fine. The rest of the spells, we play the 3 Fusion Destiny. Like I said, this becomes just a starter in and of itself now, so it adds another dimension and layer to the deck that's really nice. So we'll get into that more at DPE, but for the pot card we play, it is Prosperity. So harkening back to the Veiler point, there's like a section of wanting to have a little bit of like pseudo fluff in your extra deck to make sure that you can resolve this without needing to like dip too much into your necessary pieces. And I'll be honest, I don't even really summon access code that much. I don't think it's even that necessary with the new speed the deck gets. So instead you want to focus on like getting power cards that are going to let you, you know, control the pace of the game. So I think Prosperity is really nice. I usually only banish 3, but sometimes like if you're just in a really bad situation, you need to do the 6 to guarantee a play. But yeah, I think as much as I don't like wasting all my extra deck, because like I've gotten into situations where because of this card I maybe only have like 1 or 2 extra deck cards left, or I completely run out, which just gets unfortunate, but like it's a necessary thing to do to make sure you win the game. So yeah, I kind of wish this could just still be Desires, but I don't know, Prosperity has been nice. And we also play Droplet as one of the other spells, so this is another pseudo hand trap like thing. So there's part of me that almost wants to cut it for Chalice, but the thing is like getting rid of the extra copies of like Prosperity when it's dead, or the Fusion Destiny, or even like Nib actually comes up a lot. And not to mention, there's just some instances where you just need to make it so they can't respond, and then it just, I don't know, Droplet's such a huge momentum shift, and it also just really helps against the bird deck. There's just so many instances where this card is good and helps. Like, there's a reason why this card is expensive and necessary in this format, and it still does the job in Striker just fine. And for the last 2 spells, play Rhoda and Called By. This Called By is probably cuttable, but I don't know, it's been pretty nice every time I've been playing it, so I've been liking it a lot, and I don't know, I can't really say much about it. And I guess the only other card that people might try and bring up for consideration for this deck would be like Talents. I just don't think Talents is that great right now, and I think there's just better cards you can play in your deck that just do the same job anyways and synergize with the deck just the same, that Talents isn't really as necessary. There's no Terraforming. We only play 1 field spell that I don't even want to like see that much. I don't play Mystic Mine because, okay, so another thing, not playing Mystic Mine, I know a lot of Striker players are probably gonna be weird about, like, it's not even in my side deck, but the thing is, we're already getting into a point in the format where people want to main Mine outs or main IO or whatnot, and then games 2 and 3, Mine is completely useless because they're gonna already have all those outs, and you're already trying to play a different way, you know, based on them having like Lightning Storm or anything else. So it just ends up being a really bad card overall to have, and I just feel like it's just not worth being in the deck overall, especially with like you being able to trade resources so well with your opponent, that I think that it just becomes an unnecessary piece that isn't really worth playing. So yeah. And yeah, Reborn doesn't really do much for the deck. If you're getting to the point where you need a Reborn, you're probably already losing. So yeah. Anyways, last 3 cards in the deck are 3. There can be only 1. Unfortunately, we are in a format where, like, you know, there are some overwhelming decks right now, and even though we can trade decently against the other decks, we still can't do it to the point where it's like our deck's just way too insane. So we just need a little bit of extra help, especially since we're going first. The deck can still struggle with a little bit of like power pushes in the early game, so bringing them to your pace is definitely necessary. And also just all the top decks just get blown out so hard by this card that it just, you know, every other deck can be degenerate. Why can't Striker? So it's just unfortunately what we have to do. And plus you can control it with like DPE or like multi-rolls, so it's really easy to clear when you need to make your big pushes or make a big power play. So I think this is perfectly fine to play. That is it for the main deck, just 40 cards, obviously. Also, there's no upstart because I'm playing Prosperity, because I know someone will ask. But anyways, for the extra deck, you know, Big Boy Daddy Enforcer. This card's insane. Holy shit. Yeah, that's all I need to say. This card's nuts. And then for the Striker monsters, 3 Kagari, 3 Shizuku, 2 Hayate, 1 Kaina, and 1 Zeke. So we had to cut down the Hayate just to fit more cards in the extra deck, since we had to fit like the Verte and the DPE, and we still needed just extra cards just to have in there that can be the utility pieces, because you still want your utility pieces in the deck. So the 2 Hayate was necessary, but again, with DPE making your gameplay much faster than it was before, you can afford to not have as many Hayate because you're not grinding as heavily as you used to, so it's perfectly fine to go with this ratio. So yeah, can't complain about it one bit. And then for the other extra deck monsters, have the 1 Verte, 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, and then 1 Access Code. So usually what I banish off Prosperity is going to be these 3, because I try not to Verte unless I have to. So I usually banish these 3. So like these 2 are flex spots, you can kind of just put whatever you want, but like Phoenix is good utility, Unicorn also is nice utility, and they're just generic, so it's just easier to, you know, have those than anything else. But I don't think I've like really summoned these 3 cards at all. Like I really don't consider an Access Code a necessary piece in your deck anymore, to where you need to focus on it. I think it's still a good card to have, you need to have access to it, you know, for specific game states, but I don't think it's something you need to focus on or care about as much. So but you still need to play it. Yes, correct, Tempo. But yeah, that is it for the extra deck. For the side deck, for extra hand traps, we're playing 2 Droll, 2 Veiler. So I just wanted a little bit of like a varied hand trap thing. Originally it was 2 Droll, and this was originally, I don't even remember what this was originally, but it was something else, that's all I can tell you. But yeah, I cut whatever that card was for Droll, because so before I've been very much preaching that Droll is not really a good card to play in Striker, but the thing is now the deck plays a lot differently in this format compared to other formats, which means Droll gets a lot better for this deck because the pacing entirely changes with the deck. So Droll is only really good in decks where you can get to a point where Droll just stops them. It doesn't remove resources from the game, so you need to be able to put up a powerful like comeback play and control the state of the game via Droll or be killing them. So now we're at a point where we can actually control the pace of the game and, you know, stunt them enough. And the power of the decks that exist right now, like Lyrilisk and Drytron and whatnot, you kind of need to have a really good stop to them, and this is what this card does. And I don't know, it's just been really nice for the deck, especially just, again, with the new pacing of the deck. I think it's really good. So, but I just really didn't have room for more, but I mean, I might try and up them to 3, but there's also, it's really hard to like, you know, have that much room for side decking either. So I think between this and the hand traps you already made, I think this is probably enough, but eh. And then for some back removal, we got 3 Cosmic and 2 Twin. The Cosmic was fine. The Twin probably could just be like evenly or something, because I decided to cut evenly last second because I didn't think it was like that great. I think it was like okay at best, but I'm kind of reconsidering how I feel about it, but I don't know. I think you at least need to have the Cosmic, but without any other back removal in the deck, I think just having Twin is fine. It's still, you know, good. So, yeah, that's what I went with. And then, for a little bit more degeneracy side, the 1 Scythe and the 3 Sanctum. So, like, going second against certain boards, or even, certain other decks, like, just guaranteeing that they can't even attempt to play is just necessary, and it's just another card to go first with, especially because there's a lot of cards in your deck where you can take them out when you're going first, and then this is just one of the best things to replace it with. And drawing Scythe isn't even that bad because you can just pop it with DPE. So, like, I don't know. I think these cards are really nice, and yeah, it was really good addition to the deck. Yeah, just having that power level and going first game 1, or even like, there's some decks where like, once they make their full board, if you're able to break it, Tikaboo doesn't really like help you in the same way that Scythe does. So like, this card can even go second really well, so I really like it. And then last card in the side deck is just 2 Judgment. That's all I had room for, but like, yeah, you need something else as extra protection for going first, especially with all the good old lightning storms that like to exist. You know, Cody wouldn't love to be caught dead without having this card, because he got lightning stormed like 5 times in 7 games or something, and he still bitches about it to this day. So need to have something like that. So yeah, that is going to be it for the list, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm definitely gonna be messing around with this deck a lot more this format, and I don't know, I think it's a really good solid choice and something to consider going forward. So hopefully you guys think so too. Hopefully you guys try it out, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you guys next time. Bye everybody.